but he moved back to Germany. He started what was called the Confessing Church, which was underground resistance. And I want you to keep this in mind, that the purpose of the church in times of fascism is to resist fascism. All right? That's what the church is for in times of fascism. So if the church is not resisting fascism, it is complicit. So Paul Robeson is one of the voices. He had a bunch of LPs. And Dietrich Bonhoeffer, when he returned to Germany, wanted to expose his German counterparts to African American resistance in the United States. So he, even though they were largely German speaking, non English speaking people, he would have to interpret, but he played songs like the one we're about to hear. I mean, there's a broad collection of songs, but this one is called Scandalize My Name. All right? So let's do it.
I met my brother the other day. I gave him my right hand, and just as soon as ever my back was turned, he scandalized my name. Now do you call that a brother? No, no. You call that a brother? No, no. Call that a brother? No, no. Scandalize my name. I met my sister the other day. I gave her my right hand, and just as soon as ever my back was turned, she too scandalized my name. Now do you call that a sister? No, no. You call that a sister? No, no. Call that a sister? No, no. Scandalize my name. I met my preacher the other day. I gave him my right hand, and just as soon as ever my back was turned, he too scandalized my name. Now do you call that religion? No, no. You call that religion? No, no. You call that religion? No, no. Scandalize my name.
All right, so I want voices today, all right? I want singing. I will trust in the Lord. I will trust in the Lord. I'm gonna trust in the Lord. I'm gonna trust in the Lord.
Amen.
this next song, take a moment now, just look around the room at our friends. Right? I need you. I need you. Need. We're all a part of God's body. Stand with me. Agree with me. We're all a part of God's body. It's His will that every need be supplied. You are important to I need you. I pray for you, you pray for me. I love you, I need you. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you, I need you. This is will that every need be supplied. You are important to my need. Now Jacob is going to lead us in today's reading. Good morning. But see you, but see you, I see your enemies do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who want to you. If someone
have you on retreat turns to them I also supporting you could do not withhold your thought from them.
Give to everyone who
One who
asks you,
asks you,
and
and
if
if
anyone
anyone
takes what
takes what
belongs to
belongs
you,
to you,
do not
don't
demand it
demand it
back.
back.
Do
Do
to
to
others
others
as
as you
you
would
would
have
have
them
them do to
do
you.
to you.
If you have those who have you were credit that you even sinners have those who have them. And if you do good to those who are good to you, what credit that you even sinners do that. And if you lend to those from who you expect repayment, what credit that you.
Even
Even
sinners
sinners
Even
lend to
sinners lend
sinners,
to sinners,
expecting to be
expecting to
paid in
be
full.
paid in full.
But love
But
your
love your
enemies,
enemies,
do good to
do
them,
good to
and
them,
lend to them without
and lend to them
expecting
without
to get
expecting to get
anything back.
anything back.
Yes, the reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High, because He is kind to the ungrateful and wicked, being merciful, just as you
Thank you,
are
Jesus.
merciful. Do not judge, and you will not be judged.
Do
Do
not
not
condemn,
condemn,
and
and you
and
will
you will
not
not
be
be
condemned.
condemned.
Forgive,
Forgive,
and you will be
and you will be
forgiven.
forgiven.
Give, and
Give,
it will
and
be
it will be
given to
given
you.
to you.
A good measure pressed down, shaken, clean together, and running over will be poured into your lap.
For
For
with
with
the
the
measure
measure
you
you
use,
use, it will be
it will
measured
be
to you.
measured to you.
Thank you, and now burning with an out.
Hi, the 23rd of 2025, February 23rd, excuse me. Today's theme is locating our future together. Let's stay in touch. Please download the GroupMe chat app and look up the Jesus Collective 2025. There is no midweek connection this Wednesday evening at 7. Next week, our presenter will be Columba Quintero. Jesus, Other Ways of Knowing. Columba will share about the spiritual realm and nature. Thank you for giving. We do this together. Julia Links. Uh, Today's quote is from Reverend Martin Luther King. We are the people who have long known in actual practice the meaning of the word fascism. In many states, Negroes are not permitted to vote or hold office. Freedom of movement is greatly hindered, especially if we happen to be sharecroppers. We know what it is to be refused admission to schools, colleges, to theaters, and to concert halls, to hotels and restaurants. In America, Negroes do not have to be told what fascism is in action. We know, and so do many other people that are other minorities. They really do. Um, and I'd like you all to, I want to encourage you all to greet one another. Thank you. Let's have a greet.
Ronnie's waiting for you.
Greet.
I'm jealous that I can't be there to hug everyone and say hello.
I know,
But it sounds like they're really enjoying each other. Praise God.
huh? Yes. So is that the same room that they meet, Rosie?
Yes, it is.
That's where the piano is? I didn't
Yeah.
realize there was a
You
piano.
don't remember the pedals there?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
we were cleaning the top. Yes, that's true. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Stella, you're moving?
Yeah. Yes.
Uh, oh my
I ha-
God. So is it to one of the places that, you had told me about?
well, yep, long story, but I'll tell you later. But
Yes, yes. You'll
Barbara
have to.
and Scott are going to come and help me today. So
God bless them.
they always show up right at the right time.
You
Praise
know what?
God.
That is
Yay,
God.
you're gonna be closer.
That is God.
Hey, Shella, where are you moving to?
So I'm not moving that far away from Louisa's home. She's selling her home because it's gotten a lot for her to keep the way
Oh,
she wants to
the
keep.
upkeep.
And you know how that can be. So anyway,
Yes.
yeah, so she decided to move out, and I think her home is going to sell way faster than she thought. So we
Oh,
had to
wow.
hurry up. Yeah, we had to hurry up and get it out. So today is
Yeah.
my last day of bringing everything over.
Oh,
Oh, I see. Now, are you going to be moving to closer to Santa Barbara
Oh,
or
I'll be in
Goleta?
Orchid. In Orchid.
oh, wow.
Orchid?
You're gonna be with over there with Scott and Barbara,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Oh,
so we're
Santa
closer.
Maria.
And
Yes, Santa
Tanya
Maria. Yes.
and Tanya and Vanderbilt. Oh, close to Columba, right? Columba?
Yeah, I'm at the Vandenberg village, so I'm not too far.
Oh, Columba, that's where I was thinking about moving to. I went over and looked at, but I didn't. Anyway, it didn't work out. So.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we're like in a senior complex, so kind of small, not like a house, right? But yeah. But thank you, Creator, right? Thank you, Jesus. Yes.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you,
Telling
Creator.
you, but
Absolutely.
Yes.
he comes through right on time.
Yeah.
Glory, glory. Hallelujah.
Yes.
The God of the 11th hour and 59th second.
Tell
Yeah.
him, tell him, Rosie.
Glory.
Hi, Kenichi. Did you see that Greg just walked into the church?
Who is Greg? Who?
Greg, he used to
Thank you,
be
mijo.
at the. Oh, you don't. Okay, I guess you weren't there too much when we were on State Street.
No, no.
Uh,
I was gone.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
but he,
Everybody have a blessed week.
yeah, you guys too.
Yeah.
Hi, Robina.
Hi, everyone. It's so good to see everyone.
God
Yeah.
bless you.
Yes.
Thank you.
God bless everyone. Yes.
Hey, Sally.
Hi.
Sally, was it Greg Rice? I mean, Greg Riley?
Yes, yes.
Ah, man. That's awesome.
want to just take a moment here to share with Sayuri and Kenichi that they are in our minds and on our hearts still. They still haven't been able to move back into their house after the fires in Los Angeles and Pasadena and Altadena. Thankfully, their house was spared, but they can't live in it right now. There's still work being done in the community, and they have to have their house cleaned. So, I mean, that's a huge thing, a huge disruption of life, right? And we don't want to forget the challenge that they are nobly and fiercely dealing with. So, I mentioned when we started today that in times of fascism, the function of the church primarily is to resist fascism. So I want to offer a definition of fascism. The next slide. Say thanks to Matt for filling in for Sally. Sally is on her way back to Guyana, where she was born for the first time in 45 years. Fascism is a far-right, authoritarian, and ultranationalist political ideology and movement characterized by a dictatorial leader, centralized autocracy, militarism, and the forcible suppression of opposition. It involves a belief in a natural social hierarchy, the subordination of individual interests for the perceived good of the nation or race, and a strong regimentation of society and the economy. Opposed to anarchism, democracy, pluralism, egalitarianism, liberalism, socialism, and Marxism, fascism resides at the far right of the traditional left-right spectrum. And some of you know, I know Oscar does, and you mentioned it to me just a little while ago, reminded me that ICE is now taking action in Santa Barbara, kicking in doors, that kind of thing. That's what fascism looks like. And the Christian's mission is to resist that. Because that is the definition of who Jesus is. In every generation, Jesus is always a threat to the oppression of empire. Just think about this. In the Roman Empire, a fundamental central doctrine of the empire was to declare that Caesar is Lord. So what Christians did is they flipped that. And whenever they said Jesus is Lord, they were standing in the face of empire. It's important for us to make sure that we are not intimidated by the use of any slogan and that we can change it to say what we want it to say. That is more inclusive and generous. So, you know, you can think up your own slogans, right? So that people will recognize you're saying something different. You might say something like, heal, baby, heal. Right? I want to read something from the scholars Zoe Samudza and William C. Anderson. The United States has experienced cycles of tyranny since its inception. For some, the United States represents only this experience. A disillusioned liberal establishment has begun to worry that this country might be losing its democracy. However, the democracy some fear to lose was never achieved for many of us in the first place. The ability to participate in U.S. society has been an ongoing struggle for the descendants of the colonized, enslaved, immigrants, and asylum seekers. And those groups that I just mentioned tend to be the people who fight the hardest. And even when they quit, they find reason to quit quitting. Our church's role in our times is to join the poor, to join the people whose backs are against the wall, so that we can resist fascism. Now, we recognize that our church is far flung. There are more people who live out of town than in town. Every Sunday, plus many Wednesdays, and with our mobile devices, sometimes daily, we connect with people who are not near, but certainly dear. And I would like to learn from you. I would like to hear from you, especially those. There are people in our church who some of us have never seen in person. Think about that. And I'm going to invite them first. We're going to learn from them. But there's something that I'm heading for that has to deal with what we're doing about our mission. So I would love to hear from people who are not nearby because you are experiencing solidarity with us in this resistance. And so I don't know if you need to raise your hand, whatever you need to do to weigh in. Robina in Monterey and Kathleen in Eastern Washington, and others. But you all are far out. Both meetings met. Yeah. Ernie's hand is up. Go ahead, Ernie. You have to unmute. Make sure whoever comes on that you unmute.
Okay, that gives me an opportunity to say my challenge is technology. And I'm not that far away compared to some, but I have to start off saying it's been positive, even though we're far away, because somebody said in this group, I really like not seeing the back heads of everybody if I were in a traditional church. And it really made me think of how many opportunities that you don't have in a gathering. It doesn't mean that, like this personal gathering that David's having right now, it's not lines of pews. It's circular and, so you don't have to look at the back of heads. But when I say my experience has been positive, is also because I'm being forced to have all my mistakes with technology, but yet it opens up a lot of other things for me. One in particular is that we get to hear from so many people on the same day at the same space and the same time. And this space has become so safe for me. Early on, David asked to hear some of our stories. And I remember I hesitated to speak of something like I was a very young adult and became a Black Muslim. But the space had already become safe for me that the judgment, if it was there, I didn't know or hear it, but I still felt embraced about it. So we're heard. And also in this space, the diversity is one of my loves in life. Even before JC, it's still a love in my life. Many times, whether you're a minority and even if you're white and a majority, you've been the only diversity in a space. And that never seems to be the case on JC. So I love that. Chat was my first big fear, though, of this community. And Michael was on the first chat I was ever in, and God had it, so it was just he and I. And he loved me, and he made me feel welcome. And I was ready for the next one. And so I continue to be ready for the next ones because I learn from people that I may, even in a gathering, never get a chance to talk to in that kind of small group. Also, I've become more intimate with some of you. Therefore, we text and talk, and I've been able to visit some of you. But I can't just tell you the positives of Zoom, which has made it okay for us to be farther away. I have to say, I'm looking forward to the in-person ones too, because I'm actually a touchy-feely kind of person, and I'll get to touch some of you, like some of you, even with COVID. But I really do look forward also to those experiences also, because I'm close enough to come maybe every now and then in person. So
Los Angeles.
I'll
Robina?
go next. So first and foremost, thank you, Pastor David, for inviting me to share what I am going to share right now. Every time you ask me to do just a little, it is really encouraging. I am one of the people that who has not met anyone in person other than Pastor David and Diane, and that was about 30 years ago. And I think what this is symbolic of is that we're not limited to our local communities, that we do worship a God that is everywhere. And this technology does enable it. But what I wanted to share was ever since Pastor David invited me from the beginning of COVID, I cannot tell you how encouraging and supportive and important and central this community has been for my life. The everyday challenges, the unexpected challenges, this has carried me, this beloved community has carried me through all of them. And in return, I sometimes wonder what I can do and what I started to do, which is what I would do during my student years for the church that I was a member of. Not a member, I just attended church, was to every single person that I see on the screen. I sometimes, now almost every day, I sit down and pray for them by name. And I think that helps me. I would love to be able to meet everyone. I sometimes wonder how nice it would be to be a neighbor of Shella or Rosie or Michael and Linnea, or Kenichi and Sayuri. But I think I am a neighbor, and I always remember that where sometimes when we think negatively and critically, we say, the poem, we remember the poem, I Know This Place. But I'd like to use that in a positive way. I know this place. I know the God that is worshipped here. So thank you.
Thank you. Let's have one more. How about you, Kathleen? Thank you, Robina.
Yeah. Let's see, I might have to. Okay. Yeah, I live in Northeast Washington, just below British Columbia. And this group means so much to me. Up here where I live, 87% of people are Republicans. And that's a lot. How to love your enemies, because I believe in that. And this group means so much to me. When I come here, it's a safe space. It's a space where anybody can share. It's really wonderful to belong to this group. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. So, operating remotely, especially, I mean, it's always on my mind, but particularly of late, uh, let me say that at the beginning of February, I listed the names we were on Zoom of the people who are regular contributors to the tune of at least $250, and I am still grateful. And I also recognize that some people give out of their poverty, and Jesus celebrated. You know, there was a widow who gave out of her poverty, and Jesus thought that was more worth celebrating than any other contributions. Still, this is a reality that we're dealing with, and I would say probably for at least 7 or 8 years, um, I've been having this conversation with Dr. David and I have lunch every Friday, and that's been going on for maybe 10 years? At least 10 years. Um, um, and so he's heard my challenge multiple times. And then I've talked to a few others of you, but he's heard this more than anybody, which is probably one reason that, you know, for the past few years, like every year, he will offer a matching funds challenge, so that, you know, we can rise again, if you will. And for that, I'm grateful. But he knows that Diane and I have had such a challenge, particularly. I mean, it wasn't that easy before I retired from the church in Oxnard, but it was like walking on the water, like we were singing about. And sometimes oceans do rise. And okay, so now I'm hearing that I need to be louder. Okay, I think I'm loud enough here, maybe not there. Yeah. So, um, so a few years ago, I started talking to, well, of course with Diane, but a couple others of you, but most regularly with David, about in order to operate, maybe we need to relocate. So, you know, nothing has been settled, but if we, you know, in order to survive, we would live largely off of the equity that's in our house. We thought about Canada, but that's not a possibility. We had to rule that out right away because we're over 55. I don't know if you know that, but yeah, you can't retire or you can't move to Canada or retire there if you're over 55 because of the benefits of living there, you know, particularly healthcare. Diane and I talked about Costa Rica because we love Costa Rica. I didn't want to live in a segregated community. You know, the expat communities there, you basically have to, you know, it's like totally gated world, you know what I mean? And not only that, Diane prefers being somewhere where people speak English. So earlier, late last year, we started researching Portugal. One reason, I mean, I had already been thinking about it, but we have friends, in fact, a couple that attended our church and who, she was a worship leader in our church in Oxnard. They moved to Portugal, and, you know, and she's African American and he's white, and they said they fit in their community so well that they're never coming back. So we explored that. We looked at Ghana, we looked at Tanzania, and lately we have been exploring South Africa. Because we've done everything we could. I mean, we rent a bedroom in our house. We're just trying to make things work. And truth be told, I get tired. Now, David hears this all the time. I get tired. I'm not tired of engaging in the resistance. I get tired of trying to survive while I'm engaging in the resistance. And I realize how important it is for us to do this work. Dennis Alger, who was the interim pastor for 5 years at First Congregational, and some of you know because we had a joint service back in November. Dennis he gave up that job. He was the only pastor that I know in Greater Santa Barbara that I could talk to freely about the genocide going on in Gaza. I checked this, I went online, you can Google and research yourself. I was surprised to find out that there are 133 churches in Santa Barbara. And that includes all brands, right? 133 churches. I don't know all of the clergy. I know a lot of clergy because I've been here for 4 decades. I don't know a single Christian clergy person that doesn't either try to side with Zionism or to both sides everything to make it palatable. I do not know another. Dennis was the only person that I could freely have these conversations with. We talked on the phone yesterday, 2 days ago. And while David was away on his little getaway a couple of Fridays ago, I attended, hadn't been in a long time, but I attended our local mosque in Goleta for Friday prayers. And the imam and I, we know each other, and he came up to me afterwards. And I got to tell you, more people are in attendance than I've ever seen there. Hundreds of people. At least 300 men, and of course the women are in another section, so I don't know how many people, but Friday at 1:30 p.m., that's a lot of people. But at the end, Imam Wa'el came up to me and we started talking, and a couple of other men came up and we started talking, so he said, well, let's go sit down, let's get some chairs. And we sat down, we talked for about an hour. I have to say, at the human level, I connected with these Muslims at a deeper level than many Christian clergy, than most Christian clergy, to be sure, to be clear. And they also, even though in this group, there are some Africans and African Americans who attend, but in the small group that I was meeting with, they were not. They were all from somewhere in the Middle East. In fact, one of them grew up in a Palestinian refugee camp in Jordan. And so we connected, and they are very cognizant of the African American story in this country. And they were alert to the fact when it came to the fires in Los Angeles, they recognized that Altadena was formed as a red line community where, because blacks were not allowed to live in Pasadena, places like that. And they were aware of the fact that President Trump, when he visited Los Angeles after the fires, did not go to Altadena. They were very aware of that. So why am I bringing all of this in? It's because they are more alert to people, when it comes to people that I know, of the threat of totalitarianism that's emerging and fascism in our country. And as I told you, I get tired. I want to be engaged in the struggle, but I have too much on my mind. As an African American clergy person, as a man in our community, some of you know that I'm on the board for Central Coast Planned Parenthood. And when in 2022, when the Dobbs decision came to overturn v. Wade, there was a vigil downtown by the courthouse. And there were like 4 people who were invited to speak. And of course they were women, but I was also invited to speak. And I pointed out the fact that here we are, troubled over the rights of women being violated, but not paying attention to the fact that 1.5 years earlier, the Roberts Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act. And if we would have paid attention then, we wouldn't have to be dealing with what we're dealing with now. I'm saying this because sometimes people do not take salient black voices seriously, and it costs everybody. Because when you fight for black people, you fight for everybody.
Word.
When you fight for black people, you're fighting for immigrants. You're fighting for LGBTQIA people. You're fighting for disabled people. You know, the very word intersectionality was coined by a black woman. And we get tired. As I know, as a black man, I feel like I'm fighting for everybody. And sometimes there comes a time when you need to not fight. For example, back in when the Gulf War, when our country invaded Afghanistan, I have 4 sons, and at that time they were all living with Diane and me at our house. And everybody, they were being recruited, right? They were being recruited. They were, you know, at Dos Lobos High School, at Goleta Valley Junior High. And we were getting mail all the time. So I remember the day when I sat down with my 4 sons in our living room. They're years apart, but I sat down with them in the living room, and I said, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I need to rehearse with you the history of the military contributions of black men, particularly, in our country's history. Unappreciated largely. So I went over that history with them. I said, I'm not going to tell you what to do. But we need in society black men who are mentally healthy and physically healthy. And I am grateful that none of our 4 sons enlisted. I'm grateful. In fact, one of their dearest cousins did 5 tours. I wish I would have had a chance to talk to him. He was a sniper and a trainer of snipers, and he ended up taking his own life. So, I want to fight, but I need to be more strategic. I'm not interested in putting more pressure on you, and I know that you who when it comes to being donors, and we have other donors who are not part of our church, but I know that some among us are making serious sacrifices, and you know, sometimes I'm uncomfortable with the level of giving that I see among some people. And I want to tell you that heaven is taking notice. All right, we read that scripture today. Give, and it will be given to you. Your contributions are not in vain, and you are part. You cannot say that you are seriously a part of the resistance here if you are not a contributor. But I need to focus on the struggle and less on my struggle to care for Diane and myself. Because our job is to resist, in this moment, is to resist fascism. I occasionally, frequently actually, attend the online gathering of Jewish Voice for Peace, which meets 5 days a week minimum. And here's just a small way before I stop and ask for your feedback or questions or anything. Here's a small way that this international gathering of Jewish activists is asking us in this moment. Jewish Voice for Peace. We call on moviegoers around the world to join us in boycotting all screenings of Marvel's Captain America, Brave New World, and Disney's Snow White remake. By doing so, we will be sending these companies a message that their complicity in whitewashing and therefore enabling Israel's ongoing genocide against Palestinian people will not be rewarded. That's just one small way. There are so many other ways. There are boycotts scheduled, one of them February 28th, actually February 28th is the public is being asked to not buy anything unless it's from a small business, a local business. Anywhere, right? Anywhere from Amazon, Walmart, you name it. Okay, so these are small ways that we can put up a fight. And I am going to continue to articulate the framework of resistance as I understand it, and I'm going to continue to engage people who are willing to see the stakes, because I feel like it's a privilege. I'm not saying all of this because I want anybody to feel sorry for me, because I feel extremely privileged just to have the vision that I have. But I think it's important for us to understand and appreciate the treasure that is blackness, to understand that when people talk about affirmative action, when they talk about wokeness, when they talk about DEI, these things, that's just a way to dance around the N word.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's keep it real. Any thoughts? There's Bonnie. We need you to come up to the microphone, please. And while Bonnie's on her way, is there someone else?
I don't think you finished your thought, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but you said, so not Canada, not Costa Rica, not Ghana, not Portugal.
Yeah, not Ghana, not, I said Tanzania. Actually, at this point, it's not anywhere, but it's going to be somewhere, it appears. And there's a strong likelihood it could be South Africa. We would still be doing this online.
I'm gonna have to beg forgiveness and show my ignorance. What do you mean? You just said about if they do stuff without saying the N word. I'm confused. I'm sorry to be so ignorant. But thank you.
Okay. What did you have something specific to ask about that?
Yeah. What did you mean by that's their way of saying not going around?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's called coding. All right. Not computer kind of coding, obviously.
Oh.
But to put on an air of acceptability. I mean, this has been going on forever in our country's history. The Southern strategy, things like states' rights, right? States' rights is nothing but the South will rise again. That's what that is. It's slavery wasn't that bad. That's what states' rights is. So yeah, that's coding. Come on up, Jacob.
I just would say I'm very moved by your words today. I remember talking to Matt Real and thinking we were discussing if you were going easy on us because we were people and we wanted you to beat us up into the tree, and I feel like you have today, and I feel like there's a lot to chew on, and I'm glad for you to keep my voice in check because um I just know who said it, but someone said something like society will die because of good words, liberal words who don't understand.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jacob, thank you, Jacob. Jacob, give me a hug. I don't know if I said that, but he said, somebody said that society will die because of good white liberals. Um, yeah, not being aware. And he pointed out, he wondered, Jacob wondered if I was being uh, wary of being hard on white people. And he wanted me to bring it. All right. I hope today I brought it. I don't know. Anybody online? Anybody here? Your thoughts? No. Let me just point out that Lance has been a contributor. I mean, last year he gave $5,000, and he's not even really a part, but he's a part.
Well, thanks for.
I don't think he wanted me to mention that, but sorry.
But sorry. Can we bring the chickens back in now? Okay. So the thing is that there's no such thing as a way. See? Now the idea of running off and doing this great work in South Africa, that sounds like such a big idea. My big go away is Uruguay. Super liberal, they like the weed. They're the first ones to legalize marijuana. The seaweed, in my opinion. But the point is that we're all in this together. You see, when you look at what's going on in the big picture, we are literally that speck of dust. And we're flying around the galaxy, following the sun. We're pell-mell. And, the fact is that the sun, after 13,000 years, likes to flex its muscles and usually has a massive CME. Wipes us all out. We're literally walking dead on this planet. According to the Mayan calendar, it happens 13,000 cycles. We're past the 13,000 cycles. Each day is a gift.
Yes.
Okay? Now, let's take another step. Any place in the world, find one that's better than Santa Barbara. Find one that is better than Santa Barbara. Maybe Ventura? No. Right? East, West Coast, we are gifted. I go to my friend's house. He's got the view, the long view. And it's a secret. Shh, don't tell anybody. But that's the big idea. We have to be able to bring it here. It starts right here. The alchemy starts within you. Are you ready to take it? Are you ready for the next big adventure? Because it's days away. Now, this idea that this is gloom and doom, we can look at both sides because that's another law that we have to abide by. There are two sides to everything. There are two sides to everything. Can you pick the best side, the one that will work for you and for other people? Thanks to you, I sure can. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lynn. So So Lance is thinking Uruguay. You know, I have to say that South Africa is, you said Paraguay?
I said Uruguay.
Uruguay, okay. So one of the first countries to legalize same-sex marriage was South Africa. And South Africa led the case against Israel for genocide in the international court system. Yes, in Durban, they hosted the UN conference on racism. Thank you, Jacob. I want to make sure that everybody, who's on,
Edie, well, I could share a little bit.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I think I caught your heart. I think I caught your heart when you said that you feel like, you are filling a particular space where you are privileged to engage in resistance in the way that you are. And not too long, I think it was last year, I was thinking, because so many things come to our email, to message us about movements and so forth. And as I was thinking, gosh, should I be supporting this work, etc. I thought, gosh, we have a community, we have somebody, a person in you and Diane who are already doing that work, and instead of, because it's so easy with some of us to think, what can I do, as in what can I initiate, so to speak, and take on. We forget the community aspect, that we are all connected, we are an organism, we don't have to do everything. And so since Sayuri and I have benefited from you and Diane for so many years, and this is the glue that have us attached, if you will, for all these years. I mean, if there's anything, it's really the foundation is our relationship with you and Diane over decades, that has us here. And so I thought, oh, what better way than to keep investing in Jesus Collective and Beloved Community? What better way to fund the work that's already, doing what we believe in, and the spaces that we engage in on a weekly basis. And then the other thing that and because of that, then I am freed to, I think it was Barbara who raised the question, and I think if I understood her last week correctly, she was saying, well, if we really be honest and look at our lives, how much we are connected with agencies that are connected with the genocide and all that. I mean, I can say the same thing. If I were being honest and look at all of our financial portfolio and everything and scrutinize every little thing, I'm sure there's something, more than one thing, maybe many things that are connected like tentacles to Palestine genocide. But what I've learned is what I know, to take the little step, one step at a time, and then to resist in that way. For instance, Starbucks. For me, I made a choice not to drink that stuff anymore. McDonald's, I made a choice not to invest in McDonald's. Those things, I made a choice to disengage those things that I know. And then now, the Marvel comic, the Captain America and so forth, I make these decisions. So it's one step at a time, because otherwise, it's almost very difficult to disengage. And some people, I suppose they can do that by the grace that they have been afforded. But for me, I'm learning to take one step at a time as I'm made aware, as I become, as I educate myself, and according to my conviction, I take one step at a time to engage in that. So, and you have helped us in that, and we really appreciate. and we will continue in our best way to invest in the work that you and Diana engaged in. And one more thing. Sayuri chatted. He says, please don't forget Altadena. Altadena is a community that can use a leader like you guys. So anyway, thank you.
The thing is that we would not realize the power of our equity as much moving to Altadena. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, we would love being there.
So I have something to say as well. I hear you so clearly in wondering if there is a better place to go. And as you were talking, the thing that I was reminded of was that of Psalms, even if you go to the bottom of the sea, you know who will be there with you. So I would encourage you, if this is what is on your heart, if you go somewhere else, you do not leave us behind. We will always be there because we belong together. And then the second thing, in terms of being able to continue the struggle and continue the fight, I think just looking and observing over the past 5 years or so, there has been so much growth in this community, from moving some folks from being the normal liberals to I didn't ever imagine that there would be such strong support for Palestine and an openness to other people as well. So if you sometimes feel discouraged that the little effort that this community makes does not make a difference, I think it's already made quite a difference. The people that you invite to speak, all of us learn from it. So wherever you go, we're there with you, and we'll continue the struggle.
Thank you, Robina. Yes, I mean, who gets speakers like our church? I mean, it's amazing to me. And, I mentioned that next month we're going to be hosting Dr. Reggie Williams, who is a Bonhoeffer scholar. And that's going to be such a gift. And, one of the reasons that I can be so clear, speaking conscience with the grace of the Holy Spirit is because of the people in my world, including some are like you, Robina. I have said this before, because Robina lived here, she taught at Westmont. She came to our church back then. And I said, this is where I began to disbelieve that saying, that the saying that is, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Because Robina appeared in my life long before I was ready. Before I had the kind of curiosity that I developed. Brigitte, come up, please.
Well, I just wanted to agree with Robina, and particularly, I mean, both points I think were super important. But for me, I have to say that I've been here now almost 20 years, which shocks me. Feels like it wasn't very long. But my conversations with other people has changed tremendously. And I feel like I've gotten such insights on many topics, not just one topic, many topics. And I feel like I've been changed to the point where I feel like I have more compassion. I feel like I communicate that to other people. And so I just want to say that whatever you're feeling, your influence has been, it is truly like, you know, what people say about butterflies and ripples in the ocean, you know, that it does spread out. And what I'm saying to my mother, who never considered any of the topics I bring up, she now does, and she talks to people. So you making a big difference is what I'm trying to say.
Thank you, Brigitte. That is very special. And if there's no one else online, we're going to eat. But before we do, shout out to G. Riley, Greg. And John Lindsay. These two men, when we years ago, before COVID, we met in a space that we had to set up every week. Put the chairs out, put out the electric piano, things like that. And these two men were the ones who did it every Sunday. So it's good to see you. Where you been? No. Greg's here because I called on him to give me a haircut. So he was over at my house Wednesday, and we did it there. As we close, I'm going to ask Oscar.
What? Wait. It's me, Rosie.
Okay, Rosie. And he says,
Bueno, pues, I appreciate everything that everyone shared. Pero, yo quiero decir that, you know me, okay? Y'all know me, all right? So I'm going to keep it 100 here.
we would be shocked if it were otherwise.
Keep it a buck. Let's go.
You know, 3 years ago, my beloved went to be with the Lord, okay? And I felt like I wanted to go as well. That's how desperate I felt, okay? I still feel desperate. Don't get me wrong. But I was listening to everyone, and especially, what you were sharing, Pastor, and I remembered, because I've been in the struggle, and my beloved and I were, since we were super young, you know. But, I come from a movement family. And anyhow, I can remember being at this meeting in Oakland, California, and I was 19 years old. And this was like a lot of cadre there. And I mean it when I say cadre, And people were making all sorts of different type of comments, kind of sort of related to what you shared today, Pastor. And then I got up and I said, I know I'm just like a kid in comparison to everyone else here. I gotta say, what the fuck? The reality of the matter is shit's going down everywhere. Everywhere. And, for those people on the ultra right and wherever else their screwed up minds and ideations are that are not, inclusive of everyone, it's like when they say, well, if you're so dissatisfied, get the fuck out of this country, right? And I'm like, I don't have to leave because my position is I can criticize, I can be real and say this, and that is what I disagree about or with. Yet, my place is here because it's necessary for people like-minded to make those changes here. So I wanted to share that in love.
Thank you, Rosita.
I love you, Rosie.
Mucho amor. I love you more.
And then can I say one thing too, please?
Columba.
Sorry. Okay. So yeah, so I was gonna say, well, first of all, now we know why Owl visited you, huh? But anyhow,
Oh, some of you know that we got a visitation. What day was it, Diane? Thursday. I came downstairs and there was this beautiful owl in the living room. So if you had the group meet chat, you'd know. Go ahead, Columba.
oh, yeah, and I did, I texted back, Pastor. I just had like a very, you know, tiring and busy week. So I didn't do the group meeting. I have to sign up. I have to sign in again. You know how that goes with technology. But anyhow, I just wanted to say that, you know, that definitely or certainly, right? It's a point of intersection, right? So I know that Creator will provide an answer and will guide you. But I do wish, you know, Diane and your family, you all the best. And I'm sure we will all be praying for you. But I just hope that for all of us, right, we're not getting discouraged, right? That we're not getting discouraged. Because right now, I mean, we don't see it because we're not seeing weapons. We're not seeing, I mean, we're seeing ice. So that's pretty scary, right? But yes, but the war strategies being used right now, you know, they're trying to shock and awe us, right? They're trying to distract. And ultimately, it's to crumble and display and erase, right? Erase us from the landscape, right? I mean, they don't, you know, want us here, right? So, so I think it's important to, you know, just stay focused and keep all that in mind. And we, you know, we're survivors. We will do whatever we have to do this lifetime, right?
Exactly.
And Creator and Spirit and Jesus is with us, and we're more than just our physical being. And that's something, you know, I'm going to get into when we talk. But there's another whole realm, you know, that we have to fight in. And you know what?
Yep.
Our indigenous peoples have that key to how we do that, you know? So I think very important sometimes to take time to retrieve, maybe replenish, right? That spirituality and time to do ceremony, you know? For us, that's what we do, right? Or at least, you know, where I come from. But in any case, just wanted to say that, you know, again, we'll be praying for you for whatever that guidance and or answer, right? And I hope that, you know, whatever happens, it'll be the best, right, for all of us. But don't get discouraged for any one of us, right? You have to stay focused. Thank you. God bless you.
You know I have a big voice. You know I don't need a microphone.
Yeah, you need a mic because they won't hear you.
Oh, okay. Forgot about that.
No, I just wanted to remind everyone that the oppressor has never been, oh, I'm so sorry, maybe I'll just give you some of your rights back. The oppressor doesn't do that. The only way that marginalized or oppressed people get anywhere is because they stand up and fight for what they need, what they want, and what is their God-given right to do that. So expecting the oppressor to give us anything, no, we're gonna stand up. We have two cheeks. I've turned them both. I'm ready to move on and stand up and fight for everything that we need in our communities.
Go on.
Thank you, Jay. And now, Oscar. It's a privilege to have our favorite city council member with us.
Clap, clap, clap.
I just want to thank you all for being a part of this and thank the Reverend and his family for all the generosity and service they've done to our community. And I just also want to reiterate that I am an elected official and I'm here to work for you. And I think that's been lost in the consciousness of the entire country. If you just look at their current administration and the leaders, they definitely have this tone of like, we're doing what we want to do, you're just going to have to deal with it. And that's not the way that it was set up. And
Right.
just to let you know that I'm here trying to do my best to deal with the circumstances that are happening now. This morning I got a text that ICE is now starting to conduct no-knock raids, which means they just bust open somebody's door and drag them out. So that happened in my district on the west side this morning.
Oh my God.
Probably start happening more frequently because today was just the first day. So we gotta stay together and united and try to help out as
In
much
the
as
name
possible.
of Jesus.
You have a question?
Mm.
So La Casa de la Raza has really been stepping up and trying to help the undocumented community. So they're taking donations like clothing and food and supplies and stuff for the undocumented people of our community that aren't feeling comfortable enough to leave their home. And they're also just disseminating a lot of information like what people's rights are and such. So you can go there and pick up their literature and carry it with you or disseminate it around the city. They also just started to print these yard signs that you could put on in your windows or in your yard that state that you're not allowed to come to these premises without permission or a signed local
Warrant.
Yeah. At La Casa. Yeah.
Tell her about the meeting on Saturdays.
Oh, so every Saturday they're having informational meetings where you can go and show up and they'll educate you on what you can do to help and they'll hand out all that literature there. Yeah, and then yesterday I was able to set up my camera equipment there and we were recording people who were willing to tell their stories of what it's like to be dealing with the situation right now. Just so that we have like this recorded history of what's happening. So anybody's welcome to participate in that as well.
Just if anyone wants some of those red cards, I've got 500 in my car right now.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Diane, can you come up and explain what the red cards are? And then Oscar, you finish after Diane.
You can explain.
Yeah, so one thing that the La Casa is doing is that they print out these little red cards that can fit in your wallet, and you can hand them out, and it just says what your rights are. You don't have to answer anybody's questions. You can remain silent. Don't sign any paperwork. Don't open the door to anyone.
Don't talk.
Unless they have a signed warrant from a local judge. So this is something I didn't know, but ICE is allowed to lie. They can totally lie and just hold up a piece of paper and say, this is a warrant, even though it's not. So we have to educate people to say, I need to see the signed written warrant. And even when even by opening the door, ICE can legally take that as an invitation. So we're telling people not to open the door at all. That if they can leave the door or slide it under the door or through a window, but don't open the door because that's their ability to literally just walk in. So it's just like stuff like that, and even it's starting to affect other branches of our local government. So like the alcohol and beverage commission, ABC, they check to make sure that the alcohol that's being sold at restaurants and stuff is fine. It's within health reasons. Unfortunately, they also have like a uniform and a badge, so now people see them showing up and they freak out. Like the restaurant staff freaks out because they look very similar to ICE. But the thing is that they're just there to check the alcohol, and there's a lot of misinformation that gets spread because of that. So in the beginning of the week there was rumors that ICE was raiding restaurants, but it was actually just EBC doing their regular thing. So it's even starting to affect other just basic basic normal operations that are going on in the city because of it, and it's affecting businesses. So yeah, we're just trying to make sure that the right information gets spread.
Hi, Oscar. Are their cars identified? Do they have ID on their?
Yeah, but the thing is that their badge looks just like the ICE badge, which is unfortunate.
How about their cars?
Oh well, I mean, most of the time they're just walking around, so like, I don't even think their cars are identified, to be honest with you. Yeah, I don't think they're marked either.
I was going to add, they're also misspelling judges' names, so to make sure that the spelling is matching everything as well too.
Yeah, they're being really tricky, which is unfortunate.
Bonnie's hand is up in the back.
Bonnie?
I just wanted to say, I attended on Zoom a few weeks ago at the May Emergency Town meeting at the Unitarian, and one person, I forget who it was, said, we're helping by asking, and the Casa de los Rosas is a good place, but they need drivers, bike drivers, and whatnot, to take them to medical appointments and stuff, because they're afraid to go out. You know, they really are. So, and I was going to suggest, maybe this is a bad thing or not, but have the Hispanics carry their birth certificates with them. If they're born here, hey, you know.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have heard that some residents are starting to carry their passports just in case it gets stopped. Yeah, it's affecting everything. You know, I have heard from the neighborhood clinics that a lot of people haven't been showing up to their appointments that they made weeks in advance, just because they're scared to show up. Kids aren't showing up to school. People aren't showing up to work. So it's affecting every branch of life, really.
How do we get solid information about, you talk about rumors, you talk about a door being kicked in this morning. How do we separate, how do we find out what's...
Yeah, so that's really important, is how do we separate rumors from fact. I have to be cautious because like when the ABC went to go check the restaurants, people were messaging me saying that ICE was raiding restaurants.
Me too.
But I didn't react to it. I had to wait to make sure it was verified. And then an hour or so later, it got back to me that it wasn't ICE, it was just ABC doing their regular check-ins. So I have to be careful about what I say. But this morning I got enough contacts saying, no, it did happen. Somebody's door was broken down by a battering ram, and the person was taken out. And they didn't present
Órale.
the warrant until after they pulled the person out. So they didn't even act. That's what a no knock warrant is. That you just bust the door open, and then at the end you give them the warrant. So that's what they're doing now.
Is there any of the media
Do
that you rely on?
I mean, the local media for sure. You can always check in with them because they make sure that what they're reporting is factual before they go through it. So sometimes I do wait until it's in the press before I report it just to be safe.
And they do cover it well.
Yeah, I would say our local media does a pretty good job in making sure that they're being as factual as possible.
Now, Oscar, can I ask you, do you know if the individual from this morning that they battery rammed, you said, the door, was this considered a quote unquote former criminal or criminal person that they took, or was this just a basic law abiding citizen that perhaps is undocumented, yet not in any type of legal trouble per se?
I have to confirm, but from what I heard was they did present a warrant after they dragged him out. So that indicates to me that he did commit some sort of crime. I don't know what that was. The scary part is that the person whose apartment it is a citizen, and
Right.
they told whoever was at the door that they're not welcome there, and they are a citizen, and they still knocked down their door and then dragged out the person
Yeah.
born at. So they completely ignored her rights. So yeah, it's pretty scary. But once I get more facts, I can report it to the app so that you all can stay on top of it.
Which app?
The what's it called again?
GroupMe?
The GroupMe. Yeah. All right.
Donations to the CASA, I just wanted to say really quickly, it's really a really great place that's local. Some specific things, diapers for sure of all sizes, but I also want to just have part for women because we need to have some feminine hygiene kits that we put together. So it could be feminine hygiene products, and you can go to like places and get like packs of just like cotton underwear and just, you know, for people who, you know, it's a personal thing that they don't want to have to maybe go, and they have to obviously go shopping for. But if you put together a nice little hygiene kit for men and women, but in particularly, you know, just to remember those kinds of things too, which is really important.
Yeah. Any other questions? Don't hesitate to reach out to me and ask, and I'll do my best to find out. Thank you, Reverend.
Thank you, Oscar. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, listen, eat some food, everybody.
Thank
and
you.
Remember, first they came for the immigrants,